Well, greetings to you. I don't do much of it now, but I used to do some economic lectures here, there, and everywhere years ago, specifically on the Austrian School of Economy. And it was at universities, and of course, the universities only get the Keynesian school and the Chicago school, and virtually nothing else. I know because they told me, and I suspect it's because the standard of lecturing these days at modern universities is poor in the field of economics. In fact, I know it to be so. Youngsters aren't getting the full breadth of what they might be getting. And just today I'm going to talk a little bit, very shortly, about a chap called Frédéric Bastiat, who was a 19th century German economic philosopher. And a very clever fellow he was too. And he actually developed the concept of the unseen. What is the concept of the unseen? So, for example, if you sit on an air mattress, for example, if you sit on the edge of it, there's nowhere for the air to go but the other end of the mattress, so it pumps up there. So if you do something to the economy over here, you'll find it affects the economy over there. And this is something which politicians simply don't understand. They think that if you put up tax by 10%, the rate of tax by 10%, you will get 10% more revenue. And of course they don't. They never have, and they never will. And we have a classic example of this yet again with the new Prime Minister Burnham, who has learned nothing from economic history. He's learned nothing from the Clement Attlee government, nothing from the 1970s Wilson-Callaghan government. He really doesn't understand it because it's based on ideology. And you can't base economics on ideology. You have to really base it on pragmatism and common sense. But that doesn't happen these days. So I'm just going to take the most recent one. He's going to increase the rate of inheritance tax and he's going to put it on more people so he can pay for social care. Doesn't that sound wonderful? Doesn't that sound? We're going to take it away from that person over there who's worked his balls off all his life, maybe to get a house and some savings, which he can then pass on perhaps to his family, and give it to the guy over here, who for two reasons perhaps, one because he's feckless, has done nothing for his old age, or the other guy who's worked hard all his life as well, but the government's taken so much tax he's got nothing left to look after himself in old age. We also know that when you give great gobbets of tax to any institution run by government, it really doesn't work very well. I mean, look across the pond and look at the American defence industry. They spend $1 trillion a year on it and they're still getting duffed up by the Iranians. And it gets them nowhere. Because it's all incompetent and stupid and nobody knows what's going on. Look at the National Health Service. It's never had more money. It gets money pumped into it every year and it gets worse and worse every year. Because money isn't the answer. It's organisation and common sense. So this is what will happen to this IHT situation. You will push more people into the inheritance tax bracket, given that they've already paid tax on it already. So the money that they have, they've already paid tax on. So they're being taxed again for the second time, and in some cases even the third time. So what will they do? As I say, getting back to this, press the airbed down here and see where the air goes. Well, I tell you what will happen. More people will worry about inheritance tax more than ever before. And we're getting lies like only 5% of the people actually, it only affects 5%. Absolute nonsense. Any widow or widower with a house and a bungalow somewhere worth more than £300,000 or £400,000 is going to be in that bracket. Of course they are. So stop saying this, that only 5%, it'll only affect 5% of people. It's just a lie. Stop the lying, all right, when it comes to inheritance tax. And so people will go, just a minute, I'm going to worry about, they're going to do something about it. So they'll phone their financial advisor and they'll say, we're worried about this, we're worried about that. And he will simply, and I used to do this years ago for a living in the city, part of what I did anyway, was to say, right, okay, well, what we'll do is we'll move this lump of money over here, we'll move that into a trust fund, and we'll do this, this, and this, and all the sort of bells and whistles that you put on it, to actually means that it's no longer liable for tax. It's not wildly difficult to do. It was known generally in the city as a voluntary tax. If you get caught paying inheritance tax in any great amount, it means you haven't really sorted yourself out. Now, this is what's going to happen. It's going to be great work for financial advisors because it is basically a voluntary tax even now. So they won't get any more revenue because people would take steps who would never have taken steps before because they weren't in the bracket or they didn't think about it. Things will change. And of course, bear in mind, the really rich The really wealthy have never paid inheritance tax because they've already got their trust fund set up, and they're now second or third generation. The aristocracy or the big landowners, they're going to pay it. They're not going to pay it. So it's the little guy, as always. It's the little guy that's going to suffer. So it's stupid and it's not going to work. But worse, it's a mindset. It means that we have a new Prime Minister who is just as stupid as the last one. No good can conceivably come of it. And I just wonder where on earth you can put your vote in 2 or 3 years' time. Where's it going to go? I just don't know, because nobody seems to have a bloody clue what's going on or how to do anything about it. And I include the press, the mainstream press, legacy media. Not a clue. Nobody's got a clue. And of course, there'll be another kick-off from people who will say, just a minute, I don't have any kids. I'll go on a world cruise. I'll do this. I'll spend it. I'm not going to give it to these muppets in government. I will spend it, and they will spend it. I don't understand why everybody is just so bloody stupid. As most of you know, my work is very heavily independently research based, and I get my information from all over the world. It would help if you press the subscribe button and the little bell next to it, because the more subscribers I have, the more likely it is that international independent research institutes will share their material with me. It's most helpful, and then of course I automatically share it with you. So surprise, won't cost you anything. Thank you very much.